Hey listeners, this is Barnabas Piper. I am introducing this week's episode, which will sound a little different than what we normally do. Normally, you know, Ted and Ronnie and I wander to and fro through a variety of topics, but because we're coming off the Thanksgiving holiday, we didn't record as usual. So instead, we're going to share with you 3 of the Patreon episodes that we have previously released for those people who support us financially on Patreon. So if you go to patreon.com, you find the Happy Rant, you can support us for any amount monthly. And each week we release a bonus episode there that is not published to our normal feed. So this is just for those supporters. But we wanted to make these available to you now that they've been out for a while. Those listeners have all had a chance to enjoy them and give you a little clue of what you're missing out on. So what you're going to hear is back-to-back-to-back Patreon episodes. They're a little bit shorter. We just answer a single question and do the same tone, same wandering to and fro, same having a good time. But before we get to that, don't forget to check out Dwell Audio Bible app, who is our sponsor on the podcast. So dwellapp.io/happyrant is the URL. It's a great audio Bible app, a great way to get scripture into your life. They have listening plans. They have a variety of features to help you study and memorize and listen. So go to dwellapp.io/happyrant. You can get a 20% discount off your annual subscription. Comes out to less than $2 a month, so it's a great value. Please go check them out. Ted and Ronnie and I all really enjoy it. It's a great app. So again, dwellapp.io/happyrant. Check them out. Now, here are those 3 Patreon episodes. Enjoy.
Hey, welcome to the Happy Rant Patreon-only special podcast, bonus edition. I'm Ted Kluck, joined as always in studio by my good friends, my partners in podcasting, Barnabas Piper and Ronald J. Martin. Boys, we are producing special content. We're working overtime, a little time and a half here in the studio to give the people what they want. So, Pipe, you have a question teed up. Special for our most special supporters. What do you have?
I do. So we just got done recording a political main episode, and all of us feel enervated and miserable because politics make us feel that way. So I'm going to ask a question to you gentlemen. We can all answer, but to lift our spirits. Mm-hmm. So here's an uplifting question, and it's just simply this. What is something that you have done in your life or from your life currently that you're proud of?
Oh, wow. What a high concept yet good question. Let's start with you, Pipe.
Yeah.
All right.
I feel like Ron and I being Enneagram 4s, we need a little.
Yeah, we need a little time to think. Yeah.
Well, also being accomplished, you have to rank the things you're proud of. I would say I think two things. One is figuring out how to get out of my dad's shadow without burning all the bridges in the relationship with my dad.
Wow. That is a great one, dude.
And I say proud of only in the sense that getting out of my dad's shadow would not have been that hard, but doing it in a way that we still enjoy speaking to each other and have an affectionate father-son relationship feels like more of like a miracle and an accomplishment than it does something that just naturally happens. So, and that's been a little tricky over the years because my last name, the name I inherited, has opened a lot of doors for me. And so I've always felt the pressure to live up to the expectations or live up to if I get an opportunity, I have to earn the right to be there. And that can lead to a little bit of tension and bitterness. So I would say that's one. The other is not completely ruining my children thus far.
Whoa.
Thus far.
That's a good one.
I mean, there's still time.
Yeah,
but my daughters are 14 and 11, almost 15 and 11, and they don't hate me, and they don't roll their eyes at me, and they still give me hugs when other people are around and things. And so those are 2 things that in life that I'm proud of. I feel a great sense of gratification about those.
Right, that's big, man. If you've made it to 14 and you're still getting those hugs, I do think you've kind of reached a pinnacle. I mean, you've gotten over the mountain a little bit, you know?
Yeah, we definitely have our moments. 14-year-olds are,
no doubt.
And 11 are a real challenge sometimes, but overall, pretty good.
Ron, you know what's killing me about this right now?
Yeah, throw it out there.
The fact that we should absolutely be diving into this with follow-up questions and making it our real episode, given how much our real episode for this week sucked.
There's nothing more I would love to do that.
Oh, dude,
because
yeah,
this special ep.
I know, and I would love to go deep dive on this thing that Piper just said, because it was so insightful and interesting. And like, yeah, how do you do that without, becoming the anti guy, which would have been the lowest hanging sort of rhetorical fruit in terms of being John Piper's son, but you went the other way and you have handled it really well, I think. So, tip of the cap to you, Pipe, for getting us started. Ronald, do you have one?
Man, these are always so bad for me, I think, I guess the thing that I would be happy about right now is, I think I'd be happy about just the marriage that I've had with Big M. I think that's the first thing that comes to mind. Not in a glib way. I mean, we, like everybody else, we have things. But God has just sustained us. Man, we've been through a lot the last decade, and just some brutal things together. And it's I don't know. God's still at work, and I'm happy about it. I recognize that we've had a lot of events that have really like tested our marriage and things of that nature, but we're God's been faithful there. So I'm just happy about that, because I feel like a lot of other things in my life have just been wobbly. They've disintegrated. And they've just been, they've gone nowhere, or they've ended badly. And so, I kind of go back to this as God's grace. So yeah, I think that's what it would be for me, for sure.
How long have y'all been married?
25, going on 26. Yeah.
That's right. That's a long time.
It is, man. It's a long time.
Yeah, baby. Wow. I think mine, there are some contenders: adopting the boys, like Pipe, not screwing them up yet, knock on wood, or at least not too badly. But there was a year in our lives. This was a while ago. It was when we were back up in Michigan, and I was writing exclusively. It was my career, so trying to do freelance writing full time, and very up and down financially. And there was a time where we had just bottomed out financially, and like not able to pay the mortgage kind of thing. And I ended up taking this job. I've told you guys about it, but middle of the night, Lansing Airport, like unloading UPS planes. And I took it just for a little extra cashish and for health insurance and the whole deal. And it felt like, at the time, kind of a blow. Like I viewed it as a referendum on like the end of my writing career, and I would never get a teaching job or whatever. So it felt really, really heavy, and I was scared of it, to be honest. Like, it was a dangerous job where like a lot of people and machinery and things flying around, and it was all in the dark. Our shift started at 4 a.m. So I would get up at like 3:30 and drive in and just kind of have this weird other life that happened in the dark for a few hours every morning.
Like Pacino, baby.
Dude, like Pacino. I know. Like, I'm
in the dark. In the dark.
Dude, that's good. I can't do a Pacino voice. Like, I literally can't do it. I've tried in private.
In the dark.
There you go.
That's pretty good.
That's really good. But yeah, I think just doing that successfully, and even getting to a point where I liked it, not hurting anyone on the job, not hurting myself.
See, I remember when you did. So I'm sorry. I'm going to cut in with like a little bit of a comment, like a little bit of a question commentary. Because I remember when you were doing that, and I remember you having like, you were real tentative when you started it.
Yeah.
And then I forget how long you were into it, but then I remember I think you were talking to me and Pipe about it, and you were like, you were like, newsflash, boys, like, I'm actually kind of starting to enjoy this.
Totally. And I enjoyed it because like I've got all these tough people like in my family. And I feel like they always looked at me like, oh, you're a writer, big whoop, you're like a soft guy or whatever. And just proving that I could take that kind of job and excel in it and enjoy it. I really do I look back on that fondly, and I'm proud of it. So That's a weird one, just a weird little one. But yeah, great question, Piper. Now that came from a Patreon supporter. That question?
No, these are just questions that I drummed up. So that was just was just one I figured you guys would enjoy answering. I have a follow-up question for Ronnie about Ted's answer. Yeah. Ronnie, I know that you did music for a long time, and then you're a pastor now. Did you ever do just like any dog crap jobs that were like, I just have to pay the bills, so I have to work terrible hours, or go like just do some job that you hated because that's what put food on the table?
Yeah. So my dad, my family, my dad has owned he owned a trucking company from like 1972, and my brother actually owns it now. So it's 50 years later, it's still going.
Wow.
So, so the thing, it wasn't a horrible job. I didn't enjoy doing it, but what it was during my music stuff, I could always bounce back to it, so when I wasn't bringing in enough money, or there was like a break, and I was not on tour, not making a record, I could always kind of bounce back to that and just do that whenever I needed to. I had a lot of freedom and flexibility with it, but man, I just didn't enjoy it at all. It wasn't a hard job. The hours are really good, so it's a little glibby to complain about it, but it was just your literal, normal blue collar, kind of thing for sure.
Yeah. I appreciated your answer, Ted, because looking back, it is amazing how like there's such a sense of satisfaction in doing those garbage jobs that were necessary at the time. Like, I don't mean your first job out of college or whatever, but like when you have a family, like there was a stretch where I worked kind of 2.5 jobs, with the half job being trying to earn money writing. And one of them was working like 20 hours a week at Target while working full time at a different job, because that's what it took. And for a couple years at one point, I worked at like a tuxedo rental place, which was maybe the most miserable job I've ever had.
Bad, dude.
Oh, it was terrible. And, paid like $6 an hour plus whatever commissions you made on renting tuxes to like snotty-nosed prom kids. But in retrospect, I'm like, I am proud of it, because showing up to work every day to make your, $27 is what kept the lights on. And there's a sense of gratification in that.
Well, Pipe, what's so funny about that, man, is like, there's some, when you do ministry, when you do these kinds of jobs that lack a lot of structure, right? You have to create your own structure in some ways. There is something about working like that 8, 9, 10 hours where, man, you start at a certain time, you end at a certain time, you get home, like your bones are tired, you've been sweating, you're just like, you feel like you did something, and you're just ready to kind of like turn in for the day, in for the night. And there is something that feels really good about that, because again, we all work in jobs that are just far less measurable in terms of just those real staunch and strict kind of like hours that we had to put.
Dude, that's so true. And it's a great point too, that like, there's real value in leaving the house, getting tired. Even the people at those kinds of jobs who are crazy, like they're crazy in predictable ways. And, I feel like for the three of us, you guys in ministry and me in the academy, I mean, there's always somebody somewhere like waiting to sink a knife into your back, and you're always kind of like sleeping with one eye open, like waiting for that to happen.
Literally.
But yeah, I mean, at UPS, it was like, I really hope that, heavy machinery doesn't swing over and knock me over and kill me. But like, I knew that none of my coworkers were like, none of them were trying to hurt me. And it was just a totally different. It's simple. It was a totally different kind of danger. Just a simple kind of visceral human kind of danger, where it's all conceptual for us now, which is why, boys, 12 and a half minutes into this thing, I'm realizing that we need to splice this on to like the first 10 minutes of our other ep and call that the ep for this week. And just get us in the last 20 minutes of our last ep.
No, we're going to keep the other one, because we deserve to have a bad week, and because our Patreon supporters deserve to get a real conversation, because they've been paying our production costs for 18 months or something like that. So 2 years, maybe, I don't remember. So we're going to give this one to them, and then we'll come up with better topics besides American politics for all future regular episodes.
I like it. I'm not entirely sold on that plan, Pipe, and I may.
Well, you're sold on the last part. Coming up with anything besides American politics.
I'm totally sold on that part. Totally sold on that part. So, boys, we've done what we've done one time on this little sub program, which is shout out our Patreon supporters. Thank them with 13 more minutes of bloviating. And until next time. Hey, welcome to the Happy Rant Patreon only podcast. This is a special bonus, boys. This is an extra 10 to 12 minutes that we do on one topic only for the VIPs in our life, the Patreon supporters, the people who make it possible for us to continue doing radio at a super high level every week. So shout out to those people. You know who you are. I am Ted Kluck. I'm joined as always in studio by my good friends and my partners in radio, Barnabas Piper and Ronald J. Martin. And Pipe, you have a question dialed up for us.
I do. So yes, the model of these podcasts is a single question, and we just riff on it for a minute and give our Patreon supporters hopefully something delightful. Today, I want to ask you guys about young and unrequited love. That's the direction we're going. So,
oh my goodness.
Boy,
the question is,
romantic Pipe turned out to be haunted.
Yeah. It's we'll see if this counts as romantic. Who is somebody who stands out in your mind as your kind of your first celebrity crush, or a major celebrity crush from back when that would have been innocent? Because if you answer something that you have today, might be a little iffy.
That'd be a little troublesome, Pipe.
That's
what I think
true.
You're describing.
That's true.
Yes.
Yeah. Piper, as always, good question. The more we do these Patreon things, the more I think this should be the format for just the normal shows. Kind of why aren't we doing this? Because these always end up better than the real apps. Baby,
well, these are the people who are paying us money, so we probably owe them something.
That's
better.
true. We bring them better content.
We owe them unrequited love.
Baby, do you have an early celebrity crush?
Yeah, check it out. So this is going to date me because I am the old guy here on the pod.
Sure.
But so this is going to be a random one, boys. So the first one that came to my mind is Shannon Doherty when she was on Little House on the Prairie, when she got her start on Little House.
Now, who was she on Little House?
She was she just was kind of like a B-level character,
a secondary character.
Yeah, like a secondary character, and I don't even know. I think she was in more than one ep, but she had a very short run, right? And she was just like, I don't know, she was 10 years old or something like that.
Well, and that was before you could run to the IMDb and be like,
absolutely,
what else has she been in? I've got to see more Shannon Doherty.
Right, exactly. There's no options. There's no options for that when you're 8 years old, right? So,
exactly. When you're 8 years old and it's like 1982.
Hey, Dad, where else can I see Shannon in? Oh, well, let me look up IMDb, son.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
Yeah. So that was it for me. And so she was like, so this is kind of what's funny, right? So she was like this. She played this really sweet, kind-hearted character, and I never saw her again until like 90210 came out, when she was all like super mean, and she was kind of like the vampire character that she became and super hated by everybody. And I remember thinking like, what happened, Shannon? You were so great 10 years ago on Little House.
You were so great on the frontier, churning butter, helping out your mom.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Just kicking it with Albert Ingalls and
dude. So she was a contemporary of Albert. I bet she was like a love interest for him.
She might, man. She might have been a little young for Al, but she wasn't too young for me, boys. Let me just throw it out there.
Yeah. So mine is even weirder, I think, and similar age group though. I would have been like between 6 and 8 years old when I had this first celebrity crush, and it was Linda Carter. She played Wonder Woman in like the live action, like network TV Wonder Woman. Of
course it was Linda Carter who played Wonder Woman, baby.
Dude. Oh my gosh, man. Yeah. Like very beautiful lady. It was a show that I could follow at age 8 because the plots weren't super intricate. It was a show that for some reason my parents allowed me to watch.
I was going to say, were you allowed to watch it, or were you like sneaking that one in?
I was allowed to, but I would have snuck it. You know, I think I definitely would have snuck it.
So your mom was literally watching Linda going, I have no issue with like my 7-year-old like watching Linda.
She's like, he must just like the plots, you know. Like,
he must just really like superheroes at this age.
Yeah. He's not a misogynist. He's okay with a strong woman.
She's like, son, would you call yourself like more of a Marvel guy or a DC guy? I was
more of an Elsie guy, if you know what I mean. I was more
of a Linda Carter guy, if you know
That's
what
it.
I mean.
Yeah, I don't get into the Marvel DC argument. Whoever's delivering Linda Carter, that's where my loyalties were back then. But yeah, that's it, baby. That's the first
Linda Carter's shocking because most of the dudes I knew from that era like hated Linda Carter. Like they were like, dude, talk about she's ugly and she's the worst.
See, I always kind of like I don't know, for lack of a better term, like weird looking women, because she didn't look conventionally like Hollywood beautiful. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
there was a little bit of an edge, a little bit of jaggedness to Linda Carter.
Oh, totally jagged. Just so hard to look at.
Yeah, not for me though. I think for like most people. So this is a true like Enneagram 4 crush. You know, I have to have a crush on the person that other dudes find out.
Yeah, because Linda Carter, I mean, man, it was hard. She's hard on the eyes, and nobody I knew could even stand to look at her. So yeah,
that's
good call.
Yeah. Thanks, baby.
That was a stretch for you. I appreciate you opening up your
and the costume choices for her were just so unflattering as well. Very like moo-moo-ish. So yeah, I don't know what you were looking at, Ted.
Gee, that's really shocking.
I know, guys. It's such a weird thing. I thought you guys could relate to me on this. I thought it was an every man's battle kind of thing with Linda Carter, but apparently not.
Yeah, eat your heart out, Steve Arterburn.
I'm the weird one.
You're the weird one, man. It's super weird. Gosh, golly.
Piper, early childhood crush.
Oh, so
not
this
a lot
is
of TV in your household,
right? Exactly. So my options were super limited because 80s movies were mostly lost on me. Like I just didn't ever see them. All the quintessential ones. No TV shows were kind of relevant in my life until maybe the late 90s. Wow. And then it was like playing catch up on Seinfeld, and Elaine Bennis didn't make the cut. So my options were the handful of movies. And so there's kind of two answers. There's one that was the like more like, it's the first one I remember because I would have been like 6, and it's Princess Leia. And the thing is, at that age, she was Princess Leia. Like she didn't have an actual name. Like there wasn't an actress. It was just this character. And somewhat scandalized by the Jabba the Hutt sequence, but kind of pleasantly scandalized at age 6. But then at about age 10. Was the first time I was ever just heartbrokenly jealous of a peer of mine on screen, and the jealousy was for Squints Polydorus and the kiss that he was able to give Wendy Pfefferkorn in The Sandlot, because that's the Linda Carter equivalent. I was 10 when that movie came out, and yeah, I mean, did they know how to like break the heart of a 10-year-old, as well as like you were jealous, but also like, man, he, as the movie says, he kissed her long and he kissed her good. So those are the two that stand out in terms of like first major movie celebrity crushes. And the thing is, neither of them were because of the actress. Like it wasn't I followed their career. It was just like that character and that scenario was everything I wanted at that age. Scene, Pipe. Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't even know if you can call Wendy Pfefferkorn a character. She was more like she was like a plot device, but a perfect one.
You just wanted to be kissing anybody back then, though.
Yeah, at 10, at 10 it was, but never could I have admitted that to my peers. Like that didn't come until I don't know, 4 years later, when it was like, okay, now this is a thing that you might be willing to. At 10, it was like, no, girls are disgusting. Except that one, she's not disgusting.
Except Wendy, man, good old Wendy.
Yeah.
Hey, did Wendy ever do anything beyond?
I was gonna say, I wonder what happened to her.
I don't know. We do have IMDb now, like you didn't in 1982, so maybe we can find out.
Dude, I can't look up Linda Carter, my Covenant Eyes guy. He knows too much now. You know.
Didn't Linda Carter just pass away?
Oh, I hope not.
I don't think so. Did she?
Let's find out.
That doesn't sound familiar. I'll look it up.
Yeah.
My
I could.
Linda Carter. I'll just look up Linda Carter age, man. We'll get to it. She's 69 years old. She's still alive.
Okay. My bad.
Solid.
Sorry, Linda.
Dude, she was married to
great.
Robert Altman for a while.
Yeah, Robert Altman married 1984. Yeah, I think she was married to him until he passed.
Dude, that's a good work, Robert Altman.
Yeah, Altman, man.
Making some weirdo movies, marrying Linda Carter. That's a good run for him.
Dude, I would have thought, I'm not going to lie to you, I would have thought she was older than that, man. 69 years old, she's not even 70. I don't know.
Interesting. I know.
Dude.
Believe me. Yeah, lots to think about.
Now, all these like older actresses popped up, like Jacqueline Smith, Lindsay Wagner, Raquel Welch. You know, all
Dude,
these.
that was kind of a golden era for actresses.
Barbara Eden, remember her? T?
Oh, absolutely, dude. Yeah, absolutely. Is the Pope Catholic, baby?
Yeah, right. She's 89 years old.
Oh, 89. That's spry 89.
That's spry. I mean, man. You know.
Well, boys, this has been a lot of fun. It's been illuminating. Good question, Pipe. These Patreon apps never cease to.
They never fail.
They never fail, do they? And by never, I mean the 2 times that we've done them. We've done well.
Yeah, I mean, and you guys are welcome to like pitch me stuff to ask back to you. I'm just coming up with random questions that I thought,
don't you worry. We're going to pitch you stuff.
All right.
Don't you work your pretty little head off on that.
Dude, the notes are flying around.
Oh, they are. Yeah, literally. You guys are going to have literally notebooks arriving via Amazon.
Mountains of ideas.
Your houses tomorrow. So hang in there.
Boys, we've done what we always do for the elite, the cultural elites of our podcast listening audiences, the people who make it all worthwhile, the people who allow us to do high level radio. We've done what we always do for those people, which is talk for about 10 minutes on one thing. and until next time. Hey, welcome to the Happy Rant Patreon only subscribers podcast. Pipe, this is a new endeavor that we are undertaking where we provide special content for our most special fans, those who support our Patreon page. These have been a blast, Pipe. They're little one-off, 12 to 15-minute episodes where you have come up with really great questions to ask. So shout out to you for doing amazing work. Shout out to our Patreon supporters for being good to us as they have been.
Yeah, they really have been. I hope this makes it worth their funds that we throw a little extra episode their way, hopefully weekly.
Yep, that's right. So what do you got for us today, Pipe? What's the question? Yeah,
so the question for this one is who is your favorite, or you could have a list. Movie or TV show villain?
Ooh. Favorite movie or TV show villain?
Yes, and then of course you need to defend your choice. You can't just throw a name out there. This wouldn't be much of a podcast.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna throw a couple out there. And these are fresh in my mind because I'm watching Cobra Kai with my son Maxim. Have you watched that at all?
I haven't. Being the 80s are kind of a lost. Kind of a lost era for me. I was born in 83, so I wasn't coming of age in the 80s. And so Karate Kid was something that I watched and thought it was a fun movie, when I was 8 or 10, but it wasn't formative for me. Yeah.
And it wasn't formative for me either. I have friends for whom Karate Kid was the seminal movie of the 80s for them, and it wasn't for me. I mean, I enjoyed them, but so I've been watching this Cobra Kai thing on Netflix, and it's sort of where they now kind of reboot of the Daniel LaRusso, Johnny Lawrence story. And I can't decide if it's great television or terrible television, but I keep watching. So maybe it's good. But one of my favorite bad guys of all time is Johnny Lawrence, who was the blonde douche in the original Karate Kid.
Yes.
But upon further review, you realize he really wasn't that bad and he really didn't do anything wrong except try not to let Daniel LaRusso ride into his town and steal his girlfriend, which anybody would buck back against that. So I really like Johnny Lawrence. The way that they're handling his character in Cobra Kai is a blast. It's really kind of a redemption arc for him. kind of a douche to good guy arc, and I'm loving that. Dude,
I wonder if they had that written in like the notes on the script. Like this is the general direction.
Exactly. Dude, the other one that's similar to me, and this is all kind of emblematic, I think, of how we made movies in the 80s, was Top Gun, Iceman. The fact that Iceman really wasn't a bad guy either. We've talked about this on the program. Like, he really did absolutely nothing wrong for the whole duration of the movie Top Gun, but he was the foil. He was the bad guy to like Maverick's good guy, except that if you watch it through the lens of like, who would I want to manage? Like, who would I want on my staff? Or who would I even want to fly planes with or whatever? The answer would be Iceman, because he never at any point did anything bad. So he was a fun, like, 80s bad guy. Another one that they do interesting things with in the reboot is Ivan Drago from Rocky IV.
Huh. Yeah.
So, yeah, Drago, man, like, kind of the classic 80s Cold War Russian bad guy, you know, steroidal, quiet, a killer, literally, in Rocky IV. But in Creed 2, which really was a bad movie.
Creed was a great movie. Creed 2
was an incredible movie.
Not good. Yeah.
Creed 2 was terrible, but still fun because it's in the Rocky franchise. And, like, to me, they really got you rooting for Drago. Like, the whole Drago family by the end, I was like, oh, I want good things for them, you know? So he was one of my favorite, like, 80s bad guys growing up. Other bad guys, dude, Alan Rickman in Die Hard. I know we've had like Die Hard stuff come up on the show before, but Rickman's
he's on my list too.
Yeah, Rickman's Thief in Die Hard was just perfect. Like, diabolical, charming, charismatic in his own weird way. A great foil to like John McClane's regular guyness was like the kind of suave Europeanness of Alan Rickman in Die Hard. I could keep going, man, but I want to hear some of yours. I bet you got
so some. Well, I'll just pick up with the Rickman as Hans Gruber, because he's sort of like a paradigm for a certain kind of villain where he's like charismatic in the sense of larger than life personality, but just way over the top too. And like there's a whole category of villain that he sort of is the figurehead for it that I generally just find very entertaining.
Totally.
You know, it's funny. I pulled up a list of villains, like who are like critically acclaimed, and I generally find the ones on this list boring. You know, it's like, you know, it's a bunch of people like Hannibal Lecter. I'm like, well, yeah, was he even the villain of that movie? He was just like, he was the only one who made the movie go. Norman
Bates. That movie
Bates
was so like depraved. There were like really no good people in that movie. Yeah.
Darth Vader's on here. I'm like, Darth Vader is not an interesting villain. He's just a scary dude in a mask.
He's just in a black suit. You know, that made him the bad guy.
Yeah. So Rickman's on this list as Gruber, and I agree with that. I think here's another really interesting one that again is more paradigm than character itself. It's Nurse Ratched from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
I haven't seen that, dude.
Okay,
Believe it or not.
I didn't love the movie. I think it's one of those that's more critically acclaimed than fun to watch.
Sure.
But the sort of perfectly played villain that you hate so much, like you just. So like Dolores Umbridge in the Harry Potter movies would be another one where like the characters played so well that every time you see their face, you're like, I hope something terrible happens to that character.
Yeah.
You just abhor it. So that's a great one.
Yeah.
So then there's two other categories of villains that pop into my mind. One of them is like The Godfather. So either Marlon Brando or Al Pacino as Michael Corleone in Godfather 1 or 2, because they're not good guys, but they're kind of the hero of the movie. Yeah. But they're also they're criminal masterminds.
Bad people. Yeah, for sure.
And so there's this sort of the conflicted, like, wait, am I supposed to like this person? What's going on here? Yeah. That version, and both of those guys, Brando and Pacino in those movies, are great.
Yeah.
The last one is there's a show called Justified.
Oh yeah.
That I love, and Boyd Crowder is the name of the villain. And I can never, ever remember the name of the actor. But he's the villain who's sort of like the yin to the hero's yang. So Timothy Oliphant plays Raylan Givens, this U.S. Marshal. Boyd Crowder's like his childhood friend who's now the like criminal mastermind of this rural Kentucky county. And and so they have this friendship and rivalry, and they want to kill each other. And so there's this like, man, I really like him. He's super compelling. Also, he's terrible, and I'm rooting against him. I'm going to look him up real quick. For whatever reason, his name always slips in my mind, the actor's name. But that's a version of villain that's super fun as well.
Totally.
Walton Goggins. That's the actor's name.
Walton Goggins.
He's the kind of actor when you see him, you're like, oh yeah, I've seen him in a bunch of stuff. He's that guy, and you're like, and he's always fun. He's always a fun guy. So I think
speaking of fun bad guys, all the villains in the Ocean's movies. So like Terry Benedict, fun villain, easy to hate. And Pacino played one in I think it was the third Ocean's 13. He played what was the guy's name? I forget, but Bank, Willie Bank. And
of course it was.
He builds this huge casino and almost kills my favorite character, the guy with the huge glasses, Ruben. And those are great villains too. Any like legendary ones we're leaving out, Pipe?
Oh, I'm sure there are. The thing is, I feel like it's almost always like the bit character villains that are more interesting because they have more personality. Because I'm trying to think. Okay, so Verbal Kint from The Usual Suspects.
Ooh, yeah. So solid, dude.
The Usual Suspects was a movie that if you were of a certain generation, the first time you saw that, it blew your mind.
Totally, dude.
Spoiler alert, listeners. Movie's been out for 25 years. I feel like we can maybe get away with this, but
that's one that like I feel like we both had older, like you had older brothers. I had like an older cousin who was way cooler than me and way cooler than I'll ever be. And like every cool thing that I ever was introduced to, it came via him. And it's no different with The Usual Suspects. I remember like watching that in his basement with him and just having my mind blown and also feeling cooler by having watched the movie. And knowing that I would immediately, like, this is pre-social media or texting, but as soon as I could, I would be telling everyone in my life about The Usual Suspects. And it just had that kind of impact. And Verbal Kint, great bad guy.
Yeah, because you spend the whole movie feeling sorry for him until you find out that he's the mastermind behind everything. And then you have to rewatch it just to see if you could pick up on it at any point.
Oh, man, what a great movie. Dude, is it... It's probably time to show that to Tristan, right? Tristan's 18.
Yeah. I think I was probably junior in high school when I saw it the first time. And so it's like the perfect age to really dig that one.
For sure.
One last perfect villain. And this is like a perfect villain for the movie.
Yeah.
Rob Lowe's character in Tommy Boy.
Yes, dude. Perfect villain, perfect like time period for that kind of villain.
Yes.
Because it was right on that. Have we talked about this on the show? I feel like we have. How in the 90s the villain was always a rich guy, you know, but in the 80s the hero was always a rich guy. Like the arc of an 80s movie was that like if good things happened to you, it meant that at the end you were getting rich and you were the good guy. But in the 90s, and we got all angsty and like class struggle about stuff, like the bad guy was always like the rich, yuppie, good looking, like Rob Lowe character. Other low key great bad guy was Dan Aykroyd's character in Tommy Boy, Ray Zelinsky.
Yes.
I make car parts for the American the American working man, because I am the American working man. Something like that. I'm butchering it. I'm going to get well actually on that one. But,
somebody who's watched it. What's funny is, as much as I've seen that movie, that line didn't stick quite as well as like, you know, checking the specs on the end line for the rotary girder.
Exactly. I loved it because you did like a weirdo, over the top, like Chicago guy accent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just went all in on that.
Oh, and they picked the perfect name, Ray Zelinsky.
Ray Zelinsky, exactly. Yeah. Like kind of greaseball Chicago car parts guy. It was perfect.
Yeah, I think I don't know that I've ever laughed so hard at a movie scene as the first time I watched Tommy Boy. You know, there's the scene where like Rob Lowe's character enters the movie. He gets off the bus, which is great because he's like this grimy grifter, and you don't really you know he's bad. And there's the kid making the faces at the bus window, and he just smacks the window, and you just see the kid like fly backwards. Then he proceeds to drink this milk, which is random. Like he's just drinking milk
Super
and
random. And throws the carton in like a baby carriage.
He throws it in a stroller as it rolls by. Yeah. And, you know, I was probably like 13 or 14 the first time I saw that and just lost it. It holds up as just the worst, like, oh, we know exactly who this guy is when he comes on screen.
Dude, that's such a magical movie. And I feel like people of all ages love that movie. That's one that, so when you get to be our age and your kids get to be a certain age and your parents get to be a certain age, it's kind of a trick to find a movie to watch that like all three generations will appreciate. My dad's a huge Tommy Boy guy. My kids are huge Tommy Boy guys. Like Tommy Boy, the Blues Brothers, like there are a handful of movies that work for all three of us. And we love it.
Yeah, my kids gravitated more towards Dumb and Dumber. I think that's because Tommy Boy's humor is just there's a little bit it's a little subtler. I mean, it's hard to call Chris Farley subtle, but like the Ray Zelinsky thing is comedic genius, but you don't recognize it until you kind of get what they're doing.
Yeah, dude, even the scenes of Farley like in college, like he's at Marquette trying to pass his history final for the 11th time, and dude, my kids love the scene where they're doing like bong rips and like keg stands at the party, and Chris Farley's getting all sentimental, and he goes, "I love you guys." And he looks into the eyes of the other dude and he's like, especially you. And then he stands up and he starts that speech. We're going to show this world a thing or two. We're going to. And then he like falls forward into the coffee table.
Oh, yeah. The Chris Farley through the coffee table, which is like a staple bit.
Yeah. My boys love that part. They're always like, we're going to show this world a thing or two. Yeah. What a movie, dude. What an amazing movie. What an amazing comedian. It delivered a couple of great bad guys. That was kind of like the early part of the Rob Lowe Renaissance, I think, where he did all those 80s kind of Brat Pack movies, and he disappeared for like 10 years, and then he came back strong.
I bet those were a fun 10 years, though.
Oh man, yeah. What a wild 10 years for sure. I've heard him on podcasts and stuff talking about his career. He's a really good listen. Like, he definitely owns all of his mistakes and idiocy, but he's a good storyteller about it at the same time.
Yeah, he's one of those guys who I everything in me wants to dislike, but the more I hear him talk, the more I'm like, I kind of like him.
Yeah, like if he was in your friend group in college, you would have been like, screw this guy. He's too good looking. Things have come too easy for him. But then he'd hang out a couple of times. He'd be like, oh yeah, I'm a Rob Lowe guy, you know?
Yeah, he would make you feel like you were cool enough to hang out with him.
Oh, totally. Yeah, that's right. He would have that kind of magnetic personality. And that's honestly kind of the characters that he's played, you know, over the years. He's made you he's made you like him that way. But
I will say I'm watching The West Wing right now with
really?
Lauren. And so I never watched it because I just never got around to it. And then I tried once and I didn't like it. And so I'm trying again. And we're on like season 3 and I really like it. I got it wrong the first time. I don't like Sam Seaborn's character.
Okay.
So that's Rob Lowe's character. He's too like when he goes into like smart expert lawyer mode, he's entertaining. Yeah. But when he's like earnest, nice Sam Seaborn, I just find him excessively irritating.
Dude, it's funny. We tried to get into West Wing and kind of had the same experience you had the first time around. I just couldn't get into it. But I've heard just nothing but glowing, you know, reviews and praise for it. I should try it again.
I would say like seasons 2 and 3 pick way up.
Okay.
You know, season 1 is, you know, it's like any show, especially like an Aaron Sorkin show that's so, you know, dialogue heavy. Like they don't quite have the patter down right. Yeah. But seasons 2 and 3, it finds itself a little bit more. The characters fill out a little bit better. And like there's a deep roster of like really good characters in it too. Kind of even the supporting ones. So we're no longer talking about villains, but
Dude, speaking of that.
A great villain in that is the vice president. Like just his character, you're like, I despise this creep.
I want to review something that we touched on a month or two ago, Piper, and
Okay.
it's your wife's love of the show Gilmore Girls, and I
Yes.
wondered if, like, as a result of living with her now, you've had a chance to experience that show, because it delivers a couple of great villains as well.
Oh, well, I have experienced that show in fairly significant doses for the last 15 years. So,
Oh, that's right, because you have daughters. Yeah.
right. And I used to be married to somebody who loved that show. And so
Okay.
there was also an introduction then. And at no point have I enjoyed that show. My impression has not changed. And it's not stubbornness. Like, this isn't I'm dying on this hill. This is like, no, I genuinely can't find anything likable about this show. Every character annoys me.
It's interesting, dude, that you say that, because while I do like the show, I can watch it and I can think about your perspective on it and say, with all sincerity, I can see why he feels this way. Like, the show is equal parts, to me, delightful and annoying. And the characters are largely indefensible. The two main characters, especially Rory and her mother, Lorelai, are just unquestionably horrible people.
See, I think that show is a villain. I think it's a villainous show because everything about it is unlikable to me.
Yeah, there's really only two likable, like, defensible characters in the whole show. Run this by your wife, actually. This theory: Kirk and Luke as the only
both,
two.
No, they're both idiots. I know
No,
enough
dude.
about both. They're terrible.
Really, Kirk and Luke?
Yes.
See, I'm gonna go a couple minutes and defend Kirk here at least, and we'll get to Luke in another episode. But
Fine, do your worst.
dude, Kirk lives with his mother, takes care of her. Work ethic. He works literally everywhere in town, like the video store, Dozie's Market. He's everywhere, Kirk. He won the 24-hour dance marathon, so he's got endurance. Good dude. I think Kirk is a good dude. I want good things to happen to him. I want him to find love. And,
Okay,
that's it.
none of that has to do with whether or not he's a good character. I wasn't. He may have good character. That doesn't make him a good character. Like, if he walked into a room, I would either quietly exit elsewhere or I would roll my eyes. He wouldn't. And Luke, again, may have good character, but is just an unlikable human.
See, I like Luke, man. I think it's because I'm a lot like Luke.
Just grumpy at everybody all the time.
Grumpy and wears a lot of flannels and ball caps. That's pretty much it, man.
That describes me well also, but like, he just, it feels caricaturish, not like,
I know.
Where's the sense of humor? Where's the fun?
We're getting to that point in season 3 where it's like, all right, we got to make this Luke and Lorelai thing happen now, or else, like, I'm getting bored with the show now. I can see myself, like, drifting to the phone and drifting to, like, sports news while we watch it. So there's got to be some Luke and Lorelai stuff happening. Final defensible guy in Gilmore Girls, Dave Rogowski.
I don't know who that is. That one's lost on me.
He's the guitar player in Rory's best friend, dude. I forget her name. She has the Korean parents that are like Korean Bible study parents.
Right.
Lane. Her name is Lane. So Dave Rogowski is Lane's boyfriend. Good character, good dude. Run it by your wife. See what she thinks.
It's for the sake of everybody's mental well-being and relational health, it's best for me not to talk about Gilmore Girls with my wife.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, keep it off limits then. Yeah.
We've come to an agreement on, where that, like, the place that holds in her life and who's it good for her to watch that with, and she doesn't try to ask me to, like, enjoy this thing that I don't, and everybody is at peace. So I think we'll just maintain that.
Dude, it's too bad you guys don't live in the area. I threw themed birthday parties for KK, and we're doing a Gilmore Girls party this year. So
it's just gonna be like coffee and pancakes, or what?
Yeah, all diner food. Dress as your favorite character. It's gonna be a fun night, man.
You're gonna be in flannel and ball cap. Backwards.
Yeah, I'm gonna be Luke. She wants me to be Jackson though. She wants us to go as Jackson and Suki, but I don't know, man. I'm kind of digging my heels in on the Luke thing. So
you're like, no, I already have the uniform. I wear it every time I'm not teaching.
Yeah, I'm literally wearing the uniform every day. So we gotta keep this simple. Don't overthink it. Well, Pipe, we have largely overthought this episode in that we endeavored to go 12 minutes and we've gone almost a half hour. So this was a lot of bonus content for our Patreon supporters. But I think it means that we enjoyed this question. You always bring good stuff to the table on these bonus eps, Pipe, and our Patreon supporters always bring good stuff to the table too. And by that I mean their money. And we hope that they continue doing that so that we can keep doing radio every week in the fashion that we've become accustomed. So Pipe, until next time.
The Happy Rant is brought to you by Resonate Recordings. If you go to resonaterecordings.com, you can see the full range of services they offer. So if you're considering starting a podcast, they are the ones we recommend going with. Again, go to resonaterecordings.com to see their prices, to connect with them and ask any questions, and to see what they can do to help you launch, edit, master, and improve your podcast. Again, go to resonaterecordings.com to see what they can do to help you launch and improve your podcast.